Yes, here we are again, hailing you to come and hail us back or whatever else. Either way that it plays, we don't really mind, as long as you're there to listen and watch for more Warp Drive here with us at the Spacebooks YouTube channel for this exclusive, unfiltered, as live podcast. Where are we? Hello, there we are. That's how it works. There. I haven't got me quite so big now. Yes, here we are, more Warp Drive. I'm Dan Hadley, of course, Birmingham's King of the Geeks. And if this was the USS Cerritos, I would probably be the loud, annoying, and obnoxious one, wouldn't I? But as it is the USS Cerritos, so would he. Yes, it's Ian David Diaz, the Mega Geek. We're all loud and obnoxious on this ship, aren't we?
Yeah, yeah. And this episode, I won't start with it, but this episode is the worst so far. But anyway, we will.
This could get very, very interesting.
we will talk about it as we go along.
We have some more crew members here. Let's bring along the third loud and obnoxious one. It's Phil Vetkin, the rabbi from another planet, of course. Here he is. Welcome back, sir.
Hello, how are you? The incredible thing about this episode of Lower Decks is that an offhand comment, they describe how they view the main character, which is so insanely delusional. They describe her as a badass space adventurer. Yeah, no, obnoxious, terrible human being.
Yeah, I did double take during that. There's a lot. I know we always say this, but there is a lot to unpack in this episode.
There is, yeah.
The dialogue moves so quickly, but we have got a fourth chair, and this person we're about to bring in. To be fair, he's not really that loud and not particularly obnoxious. At least I've never seen him. The very clear and considered. Problem being, welcome to Warp Drive.
Hello. Are you trying to get me to demonetize you? Because I can do it. I can do it.
That's the blessings of a small channel. No one cares. Haven't been monetized yet. You can say what you like.
Oh gosh.
Welcome aboard.
I promise.
Join the fun. Yeah, well, this is Warp Drive. This is our regular Star Trek show where we talk about all things generally Trekish, but with a particular eye on this brand new Star Trek show. Problem being that's dropping out a link every week, isn't it?
Linking logs like a goldfish. Yeah.
Star Trek Lower Decks, courtesy of CBS All Access and Alex.
I think you're insulting Star Trek if you call it Star Trek.
Honestly, okay, this is, and I might have said this last week, right? But this is an extreme example.
Yes.
I'm not going to say it because I don't want to get your stream in trouble. But there were camps they had in Germany in the
holiday camps, nice showers.
So
those
camps they had Arbach Mach 3 was written on was welded, which meant work will set you free, which was a bit of a
you've said this before.
Not really the way
a misnomer, one of the biggest misnomers in history.
So one of the biggest misnomers until they called Star Trek Lower Deck Star Trek. I mean, really? I would say that gate.
Only a rabbi can get away with saying that. Yeah.
We're starting with the gold, aren't we? It has to be said. Well, look, we've all got something to look forward to this week. Let's dial back a little bit and not get too stuck into Lower Decks just now, because we've got some good news courtesy of CBS, haven't we? Because in the wake of the DC fandom sort of online convention, CBS has stepped into the breach for a Star Trek themed event, which is dropping in 2 days' time. Yes, on Tuesday, the 8th of September, to celebrate the, how much is it, 54th anniversary of Star Trek. We've got Star Trek Day here.
Yeah, but that's crap because they've got Discovery on it. I mean, obvious.
Way in the background, and look, go back up, and Captain Kirk is
Oh,
Look at
apparently
that
he,
small-
That pixel over there. There we go.
Well, yeah, I'll come to that in a moment because I've got that cleaned up too. But yeah, this is CBS All Access, and fans from around the world are having a virtual celebration of Star Trek Day.
Yeah, it's a virtual celebration because it's virtually
Yes.
just not celebrating anything at all.
Yeah, so I
True.
wondered if you think this stands a chance of success, because obviously the DC event went really, really well, didn't it?
Any Trekker, Trekkie, or fan of Star Trek will look at that and go, "I am insulted." Quite honestly,
We are.
I
I
mean,
mean, look
really.
at the poster.
I
Look at
mean,
the
yeah, it's a
poster.
slap
got-
in the face. It's
Yeah,
a
it's got-
blatant slap.
Right, well, here we are. This is what it says. Join hosts Will Wheaton and Mika Burton.
Okay,
not
I'm
sure
out
Mika
already.
Burton is.
I'm out already as well. Will Wheaton.
Yeah,
What's that all about?
I'm out.
Will
Leave me
Wheaton,
alone.
yeah, it's like the kiss of death. I mean, look, he can't even get but even the smaller Star Trek channels will get more views on their videos than that gimp.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sorry.
But also, you know, Will Wheaton, right? Will Wheaton, he basically just tries to.
Shut up, Wesley.
He supports what's going on with Discovery and all that. And how can you take him seriously?
Because he's a simp.
that?
He's a massive simp.
He presents the sort of after show, doesn't he? But yes,
Yeah.
they're hinging it on panels mainly for the centerpiece of this global experience. And,
He's a personality vacuum.
Going-
I mean, really.
I tell you what's going to happen, right? They're going to be talking about Star Trek, and they'll be talking mostly about Discovery, how brilliant it is, how great Mikey Spock is, and all that nonsense. And real Star Trek fans are not even going to be watching. It's just all crap. All of it is crap. Just don't even
It's
bother.
going to be abysmal.
Yes, here was the original poster that they went with, as you mentioned their problem.
So
That was
women-
the original version.
No Kirk.
No
Now-
Kirk.
Oh my god,
yeah.
I thought that was Kirk. There's no Kirk in there.
No,
No.
Kirk there.
Oh my
It's
god,
you know,
I
they've
didn't
got
realize
the,
that was Pike. Oh my god.
Look, right. It should be.
No,
Captain
Kirk was,
Kirk.
it was next to Spock, wasn't he? Kirk was
No.
next to
No.
Spock.
Yeah.
On the other poster,
All right.
if you go back,
yes,
go
but
back to
this,
the one you said
but
first.
that's on the present one on the website. This was the original post that was put out when they first announced it. Which at first glance, it's got the usual sort of dynamic going on, and mix of the old and the new. But as you know, what you've just quite rightly landed on was also noticed by William Shatner himself, Captain Kirk. So he saw this graphic, and across Twitter, there's been a bit of banter between CBS and William Shatner this week, and he's been naming Alex Kurtzman. He's been mentioning him by name and tweeting, if not at him, then certainly about him, and about the fact that the JJ movies aren't on this poster either. That's vanished. But we've got, it's great that we've got, Cisco, who's probably my favourite of all the captains there. Love that he's there. And Janeway for that matter. It's Voyager's 25th anniversary, of course.
If you want to pay respect to the Star Trek fans, it should be Captain Kirk on the right, and it should be Spock on the left, the original crew, and then the rest should follow.
On the periphery.
Yeah, and then Mikey Spock should be as small as whoever that guy is on the left. He looks a bit like Captain Kirk. That's respect. This is just bollocks.
And the Trek fans, did agree with you, Ian.
I heard this, yeah.
Well, the Trek fans did agree and stepped into the breach, and Bill Shatner offered his own edit to this artwork, and
brilliant.
This was his Photoshop that he put out there afterwards, which I thought was obviously.
Although he's covering Spock.
Yes,
yeah.
Overcompensating a little bit there. But yes, so that is now on the official artwork. I understand, but what a gaff! And Marina Sirtis isn't very pleased about not being.
She said, my invite was lost in the post. It's like, oh, this is embarrassing. I mean, it is bad optics, no matter which way you look at it.
But if you look at it very carefully, they have this poster that's come out, right, and they're talking about Star Trek Day. They're literally saying to you, to the real Star Trek fans, fuck off. That's what they're saying. Piss off, right? This is Star Trek now. Live with it. That's what they're saying, literally, with that poster. And what we are saying is,
fuck off.
Fuck right off. Fuck right off. That's what we're saying.
Give it some right back at them. What I love,
it should be a 2-finger salute, not the.
I mean, you really think why they cancelled the fandom, right? Because they want to get rid of the fandom.
They can't though, because we are Star Trek.
Well,
Yeah,
it's the same thing with Doctor Who. It's the same thing with Doctor Who, Star Wars.
A major element.
It's the same thing with Star Wars and Doctor Who. They want to replace the old with the new, and the new simply does not exist. So I don't see what they're doing, really.
Well, could they be attracted by this little lot here? We've got a Star Trek marathon at 12 a.m. on DVDs, and everybody's got, I suppose, and Netflix that anybody can stream whenever they like. Star Trek panels, 3 hours worth there, and more Star Trek marathon, and then a pub quiz, which I understand is with Will Wheaton. And the geeks who drink. I hope they're drinking something quite strong.
That is so shit. I'm sorry, right? But I don't normally swear that much, but this is just absolute bollocks and shit and fuck them all. That's all I can say. Just rubbish.
Is this free?
It's free if you're in the right territories, because as we know, it's certainly in the UK, everything that CBS puts out.
Do you know what? I wouldn't even pay free to watch it.
But everything that CBS put out on their official channels in the UK, and I believe in Australia as well, gets region locked. So
all right, so
enjoy this or not, I don't know.
If you look at this poster very carefully, what we've got is two women, which is the feminine agenda. We've got a gay guy at the bottom, and we've got an old man at the top. If that doesn't say "fuck off" Star Trek fans,
a straight progressive old man.
Exactly.
On board with the program. Yeah.
I mean, as I said, no disrespect to women out there, no disrespect to people.
Well, most women don't identify as feminists, and this is something that they don't understand. If you look at every sort of metric that's available in all the are you a feminist kind of questionnaires, is like no. it's like
having Doctor Who Day with a poster without Doctor Who. Just basically K9. K9, that's it. Yeah, or Jodie Whittaker.
No, you know what? Honestly, I think it's very comparable to Doctor Who, because they look to have Jodie on absolutely everything. The current Doctor Who on absolutely everything. And then the licensee said, "Well, we can't sell any of this." So they did a
one by one they dropped.
Yeah, look, I mean, listen. Look, the truth is this: we're about a year out from this being over. Okay, we're about a year out. CBS Viacom has to raise capital. They got to have the 90 million payoff this year, and so they just have to raise capital. That's all there is to it. So this is the rumor is what's the name? The woman who's in charge of Paramount, the movie section. I can't remember her name.
It's Emma Watts. You're
Emma Watts. So the rumor is her remit is to clean up Star Trek to make it saleable. That's an attempt to do that without understanding what you're doing.
But she can't. She can't get rid of Kurtzman, because Kurtzman's under contract. If they don't make Star Trek, if they stop making Star Trek, Kurtzman gets paid $1 million. If they do make Star Trek, he gets paid $1 million. Do you know what I mean? So
pay him $1 million and tell him to fuck off.
They can't.
Off you go.
He's locked in that contract.
We could go fund me. We could do an Indiegogo.
No, you can't. He's signed a contract. He signed
the contract. He's destroying the franchise.
Secret Hideout.
Anyone else destroys the franchise gets fired. Surely.
No, but he can't.
There's got to be a buyout. You can get.
Well, promote him out of it then. Promote him somewhere else.
According to Edge, according to Midnight's Edge, he's under contract, right? No matter what you do, Secret Hideout and Bad Robot under contract. No matter what you do,
they've got a bank of lawyers. Let
me finish. If you stop Star Trek, he still gets paid. If he doesn't do anything, he still gets paid. He's under that contract. It's like an unbreakable contract.
Yeah, but he's costing them more money than that. They will lose if they get rid of him.
I know, but they can't get rid of him because he's under contract.
Yeah, but they've got a bank of lawyers. They can work it out.
I hope so.
To keep making Star Trek and to bypass Kurtzman. This is what you do. This is what you
kill him.
You promote him out. You promote him out of.
Don't do that. Don't do that, please. Don't do that.
I'm only joking. But no, if you don't make Star Trek and then you fund like a fan product, like an Axonar, to put on the CBS platform, At that point, and like, just pay him. If you're going to pay him either way, just pay him. Just don't let him make any Star Trek. He doesn't know what he's doing.
Just get the people who do, that YouTube channel where what's the ads?
Yeah,
Star Trek continues.
Star Trek Continues. That's the one. Just get them. Pay them the money and get them to. It's cheap. They've got the sets. They've got the costumes.
But the thing is, even if you pay Kurtzman's salary, right, and you don't make Star Trek, and instead you make Star Trek Continues and Axanar, you're still saving money because you're not flushing it away on things that nobody wants to say. You're not flushing away on Picard. I can't believe they're doing 13 episodes of Discovery. When they said season 3, I thought it would be a sad episode. No,
it's done already. The new one's done already, isn't it?
Yeah,
so they're just waiting to put it out, aren't they? That new one. Yeah.
Yeah, if they can find anyone to buy it.
So we're not counting the days till September the 8th, then.
I'm not even going to be watching it.
Let's answer that question. Let's cheer ourselves up a little with.
No.
Star Trek. This is look. I've got some good news for you. Some good news. We're at the halfway mark.
Oh,
this is the 5th of 10, and in this new episode, Cupid's Errant Arrow, which was written by Ben Joseph and directed by Kim Ardent. Whatever that is. Sorry, Kim. Yes, this is Cupid's Errant Arrow. In this new episode, Ensign Boimler, which is a name I can say at last after 5 weeks, welcomes his girlfriend Barb onto the USS Cerritos, much to Mariner's dismay, while Ensigns Rutherford and Tendi get a serious case of starship envy when the Cerritos rendezvous with a far more advanced ship, the USS Vancouver, and mayhem ensues, Rabbi. I was going to ask, how are you warming to this now? This is the halfway mark. This is probably as good as it's going to get.
Not at all. Hate it. That's like saying, somebody's okay. If somebody's got their fist up your ass, right, and it's been there and he's up to his elbow now, right, and he's been there for like about a good 20 minutes.
Just sort of settled in.
Yeah. Are you warming to this? The answer's still no. No, I'm not warming to it.
When last we met to speak about this, if you remember, Rabbi, we spoke about how many of all 4 of these episodes probably exhausted.
Sorry.
So yes, when we last spoke about this, we mentioned how all of these episodes have hit all the same notes, just in various different orders, and they've all focused on Mariner. This one, you could argue, focuses on Boimler, doesn't it? Mega Geek, doesn't it, Ian?
Not really. It still focuses on Mocky Spock. It still focuses on her.
Can I just guess here, because I haven't watched this episode yet. All I'll say is she creates the problem, he gets all the stick, and then she comes in and saves the day.
Yes,
more or less.
Yes. 100%.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely uncanny.
Psychic.
And have you seen the other 4? Probably.
Yes, I have.
But problem being in the same position as I am right now, that I had to force myself to watch this, and I really just wasn't into it. I did. It's 25 minutes long. I broke it into 2 sittings. It's like I had to really work to watch this.
I've done that. I did that with episodes 2 and 3, definitely. Yes. Okay, so.
Oh my God! I forgot about this stupid plot line.
Yes, we got 2 plot lines running at once. We do get another pathetic white man there to middle age.
Oh yeah, of course.
We get him to sort of.
Did anybody notice the teddy bear with the visor on when he was waiting for his girlfriend?
Nice little touch, but those things.
Yeah.
But, I
hate those touches. I hate
it's
the show it did.
They don't understand Star Trek. Like this guy's password was Riker. Why? Why was his password Riker?
It's all a bit too much, isn't it, Rabbi? It's all too much. Too many.
This name drops more than I do, and that's saying something.
It is. This episode is terrible because basically it's obviously dumping on Mr. Purplehead Man again and making men look stupid and making her right. So even when they had the big fight at the ending, they became friends.
The same smug face.
Yes,
it's just basically telling us that men are bad.
those eyes are always being cut, aren't they? Every shot. Look, we've got one guy here who hasn't seen it yet, but may as well have done because it's all you've just
listen.
nailed it.
I know exactly. I've heard the reviews on this one already. So I mean, apart from that, I know anyway from watching the last 4 episodes. It's the same thing over and over. She creates the problem. He gets all the crap, and then she comes in and saves the day. It's always the same thing.
Well, with this one, it's not. Basically, she basically doesn't believe that Mr. Purplehead guy's got such an attractive girlfriend. She seeks out to destroy his relationship, which she does at the ending.
So she's creating the problem.
And even towards the ending when she is wrong, and that they find out there's something in his head, whatever, and she has a fight with the girl. They become friends. Her and the girl become friends.
And then saves the day.
It effectively becomes her relationship, doesn't it?
Yes, I'm saying. So it's not about saving the day. It's basically about turning everything around.
So the only change here is that instead of saving the day, she gets the girl.
yeah. She turns everything around so that the advantage is on her
always
side.
at his expense.
Exactly.
I was going to start this episode off by saying that, and I think I've mentioned a couple of this to you. To a couple of you in private. I actually liked this episode. I actually laughed at it. It's supposed to be funny.
Wait, why did you laugh? I'm curious.
Various points. I laughed at the various sorts of setups about she could be a salt vampire, computer and program, things like that. Some of those little lines did make me laugh. I feel that this is episode 5, and for me this is closest so far to the kind of promise that an animated comedy Star Trek could have, in theory. Now, I'm aware, and I don't think until you started speaking, dear guys, I don't think I'd taken it on board quite how similar this was actually to the other ones. It's almost as if they're trying to do the same thing over and over again until they get it right. And to me, this is the closest it's got to being right. Whether that makes it a good show, whether it makes it a viable show and something that's ultimately worth doing, is still very much up for debate.
Okay, let me give you an example.
Let me just explain. I did laugh. I'm not going to pretend I didn't. When I did, I found the setup very amusing. I found the fact.
Were you on gas?
The elements of Mariner trying to sort of save him from a relationship that was bound to be an alien or a salt vampire. Because that trades off lots of Star Trek tropes, and in quite a sweet way. Potentially, if you hadn't have seen earlier episodes of Mariner, so that's why I liked it.
But at his expense, always.
It is at his expense. And he got naked again as well, didn't he? But it's clear to me. I watched this on Friday, and even though it made me smile, and knowing I was coming to talk to you gentlemen in a couple of days' time, what happens is these episodes move so quickly that I forget lots of things because obviously they're stocked full, and it's all these lines. It's overwritten and underwritten, overwritten, and underdeveloped. But what it's become clear to me is that this is meant to be like Rick and Morty, like The Simpsons, this legacy of animation that we've got that is built for the rewatch generation.
No, it's made for kids with Ritalin addiction and ADHD.
And I do.
They don't like it either. They don't like it either.
I'm yet to find people who actually do like it. But I do respect that creative decision and that model of TV because people do rewatch things over and over and over again. Yeah. So I thought, this made me, exactly. So this made me laugh. I enjoyed it. And yet the thought of rewatching it, I wasn't remotely interested still. I wasn't drawn by the prospect of seeing this again, even though it had made me laugh. And I think it's because I still can't stand these characters. I think it's...
Take her out the equation, and you might have...
you got to take her out, you got to take her mother out, you got to take Boimler out.
Yeah, but start with her. Just start with her. It would at least be 50% better.
And then you got to. Listen, I have a theory. Actually, this is a part of some government experiment to create the ultimate narcotic, the ultimate weed, right? That if you take it and you still don't want to slap yourself in the head with a cricket bat repeatedly while watching this, they created something that's absolutely perfect that can subdue a nation.
This episode was not funny at all. I mean, I don't know what you were watching, Dan, but this episode was not funny, and it still's playing the agenda and slapping men in the face. For instance, I give an example, the prime example, when they had the flashback, right, when she was talking about how one of her friends got eaten by an alien that was disguised as someone really good looking. Guess which one it was? Was it the female? No, it was the guy. Now, if that doesn't say slap men in the face agenda, blah blah blah, what we've been talking about for the last 4 weeks, I don't know what is. And purely because of that, I do not find this show funny. I find it insulting to Star Trek fans, and I can't say any stronger than that. I mean, you know, God bless you if you found it funny, but I did not find this funny at all.
I think what we're seeing here, and this is across the board, this is just another example of demoralizing a certain group of people, which happens to be us. What I think it is, and it's far too much of a coincidence that it's happening across the board. That this is an exercise in demoralizing and destroying everything that men particularly hold dear. And you know, I'm not excluding women in this as well, because there's a lot of women who love this, and you know, understandably so. But
and women liked Star Trek as it was as well. And they liked
absolutely,
Doctor Who as it was.
Star Wars.
But look at the dynamics, right? For instance, right, she's trying to find out whether Purple Head Man's girlfriend is an alien, and then when she has the flashback, you have the attractive blonde girl and the good-looking. I was thinking maybe she's trying to find out whether that girl is an alien, but no, it has to be the guy. It has to be the guy that was the alien. Again, it's doing the same thing every week, which is saying men are crap.
All three of them.
They're deliberately destroying our mythos. They're deliberately destroying our culture. They're deliberately what they're trying to do is they're trying to not only destroy these things, but what they're trying to do is overlap a new way, or the highway mentality. So they're presenting these things by denigrating them, by pulling them down, and then once it's destroyed, they will replace it with their banal crap. So you will be forced to accept it and shut up and just consume. And it's a battle of attrition. It's beating people down till they accept
one thing that they didn't figure on, right? Which was they assumed we would always have this incredibly stable economy where they can make things that don't make money and people aren't interested in. That's over.
It's at times like this when we want entertainment. Like if you look at the time of World War, or the time of a Great Depression, or a time of a crash,
and like right
people
now,
turn to entertainment, and entertainment thrives. And it's really weird. This is the first time, I think, in history that entertainment has suffered rather than thrived in a time of crisis. Because most people, when crisis is occurring, turn to entertainment and cinema. I mean, look at the best music in the charts have come about at the time of great depression and crisis within a nation. If you look at Britain in the 80s, you had this huge rush of, you know, huge chart songs and great hits and great movies. And it was a time where a lot of people didn't have a lot of money, and there was a lot of strife, a lot of political problems and all sorts, and economic problems. And the entertainment industry really took off. And this is the first time, at least in human memory, that this hasn't happened, because they fucked it up so much.
Run by idiots, that's why.
I don't know, they're idiots. I think they're doing this deliberately. I think that,
of course
they're not smart,
and they've gotten away with it for so long.
No, of course they are. They're doing it deliberately. Of course,
I don't think the people working on this have a clue. I think they're just going along with.
I think they know exactly what
they know exactly what they're doing. They know exactly what
honestly, I think
they're fanatics. They're religious fanatics.
The failing wind is to build up women by denigrating men. right? I think they know that, but I don't. I just think that's the prevailing attitude.
I think what they've done is they've overcooked it. I think because of the 2016, because this was all supposed to happen with Hillary Clinton in power, and all this was supposed to glide in with that, and it was all supposed to be the future is female, right? So all of this was put in place, and it was all going to be ramped up slowly. But because of what happened, this is all being ramped up a lot quicker, and it became much more obvious too quickly, and people cottoned on rather than sort of gradually being succumbed by it, So it became such a slap in the face that it was undeniable. It was so obvious because they ramped it up far too quickly. So the whole plan has been uncovered, and when we get people like Kurtzman coming on and saying, "Oh, I'm not here to promote Star Trek. I'm here to promote these organizations, and use Star Trek as a platform." I mean, that's
a very difficult thing to listen to, and not.
But it's failing. Its plan is failing.
Yes, it is failing because they've shot their load too quick.
It failed with Star Wars. It looks like it's failing with Doctor Who. This new director general is like, no, we're not doing this anymore. Like, are you out your mind? Like, he basically capitulated to get rid of the license fee already.
Well, Tim Davie is a conservative.
Yeah,
and he was running the successful arm of the BBC.
Yeah, more to the point, he's a capitalist. That's more important than the fact that he's a conservative. And Emma Watts, who's taken over Star Trek creatively, certainly fiscally. She's obviously a businesswoman too. And Alex Kurtzman now does have, maybe he had a boss before, but whoever it was, we didn't see them. We weren't aware of them. He's certainly got a boss now. And this could all change. I mean, I've no doubt there'll be a second season of Lower Decks. We're at the halfway point now.
No.
There will be a second season. Well, look at as well as I do, Rabbi. Rabbi, you know as well as I do. Think about it. How many episodes of She-Ra did Netflix manage to make in just 2 calendar years?
7.
4 or 5 seasons. The animation. Once they get the animation teams together, regardless of success or failure, once the teams are together, it's actually cheaper to keep going and keep making them rather than to bring them back together. That second season will happen. Practically will happen.
I think we should all stop
I think they've probably made most of them already, in fact.
That's the thing, right? We should all stop caring about this. I don't give a shit about Star Trek anymore. If that's what they want to do, it's not for me anymore, right? So I refuse to get upset over nonsense like this. I really do. I mean, they can have it as far as I'm concerned. For me personally, I am done with Star Trek, Star Wars, and Doctor Who until they come to their senses and make these shows for everybody.
Well, moments like these, like I've got on screen at the moment, I've left that up because obviously that's supposed to be Deep Space Nine there, and that is a Daedalus class ship. All those things are supposed to be the sweetness for the likes of us, aren't they, gentlemen? To keep us coming back to think that there's a tension.
Look at how good this used to be. Remember?
Yeah, they don't think of the byproduct being like that. I mean, there is a section of Star Trek fandom which is, should I use the word contrarians? Maybe I should. But they're just accepting all this at face value and seem to be having quite a good time with it. And the same and they seem to be the same with Discovery as well. But I do wonder, because now I'm noticing as well through listening to discussions with some very key, bigger Star Trek figures, the writer, pundit Larry Nemeczek, who at one time written the best Star Trek reference book around. When Discovery first started, that first couple of years, if you'd asked Larry what was going on with Discovery when it seemed to be in chaos, and everything's fine. These are conspiracy theories. Now, when he talks about it, a couple of years on, he will admit that there were production problems on Discovery for the first couple of seasons.
Shock, surprise.
But sort of, it's like sorry, Larry, if you're listening to this, but I was listening to your podcast the other day and I heard you, and I do like what you do, but the fact is that you were singing another tune not that long ago, my friend.
Well, he was under contract, wasn't he? So he had to say.
I don't know. I'm not sure who Larry works for, and he is a friend of a couple of friends of mine. So I'd love to get him on and talk to him about it. He does seem like a lovely fella. But to me, it's it's simple. 2 or 3 years ago, people such as Doomcock, people such as our friend Tom on Midnight's Edge, they were being shouted down for everything that they were saying, for even suggesting that everything in the garden wasn't rosy. And now the people who are doing the shouting down are slowly saying, yeah, well, yeah, things did sort of go to shit.
It's the same with John Boyega
okay
in Star Wars.
Oh
Exactly
yeah,
the
he
same
was
with John
great.
Boyega.
Yeah, he really spilled the
Love
beans.
that guy.
I mean,
Yes.
if that isn't a sad indictment of the negative
you read what he
outcome, this proves, right? This absolutely proves that the whole policy of diversity inclusion by force as policy is divisive, is using people, using groups particularly, and is very cynically employed. It's tokenistic. And he came out and said exactly that.
Didn't mention any names, though, did he?
Well, you know,
Didn't mention any
signed
names,
his
though,
life
did
to
he?
Disney with
But,
blood.
okay, listen.
got a lawyer,
one
presumably.
detail that he mentioned, which I thought was like mind blowing, was that they had him grow out his hair in the movie, which is like apparently is a big deal if you're black. Maybe you could. I've never heard of that. But then
It
he
is
said,
actually.
yeah. then he said that they didn't have a hairdresser for him as stylist.
That's right.
And you have to work with black hair.
Yeah.
So I think I never assume Hollywood's really racist, right? I just think it's like, until I hear that, I'm going
You've
like,
been living in a bubble, mate.
but you know, honestly, I don't understand it.
When you
I
try
don't
too
understand,
hard, it's so
oh,
blatant.
black, so I'm scared of you, or you're wrong. Like, I don't understand it.
Racism has always existed in the UK industry, always, as far as I can tell, always, and it's very subtle. They come out and they say, yes, we want diversity, we want this, we want that, but when you look closely, they do not.
They point the finger at everyone else because it stops people pointing at them.
So what you're suggesting is it's all surface
That's right.
value.
They go as far as put adverts saying that they're looking for diversity. They put adverts in newspapers and everywhere. Before the advent of the web, they used to put adverts saying we're looking for people of color and stuff like that. Before they put the advert in a newspaper, they've already assigned someone to that job because they had to do it via law. And that's what was happening when I was trying to get into the BBC. And Lord knows what's happening now. It's probably even worse now.
The thing is with the BBC, right? I don't think the BBC is particularly a racist organization. What it is it's cronyism. It's cronyism, nepotism, and cronyism. Historically, they only hired people they know or members of their own family, and that's how it's always been.
I disagree.
It just so happens. Just so happens that they're all white.
No, I disagree. Name me a black a show with a black lead in it apart from Luther in the last 10 years.
That I agree with because they only think in terms of but I think that's unconscious, subconscious. I think
it's conscious, and it's called racism. Like they had a comedy show called I can't remember what it was, but it was really successful. With the black, it was a sketch show. It was called The Real McCoy, and it was really successful. And I'll tell you what it is. They're aloof, and they pulled it for no reason. They pulled it. It was a huge successful show. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If that doesn't say that they're not behind black shows and black, I don't know what does.
Well, you might be right. You might be exactly right. But I think in terms of that, they are so aloof that they only mix in the certain circles. They don't think about black people. They don't think about Asian people. They only think about what their mates at their little cocktail parties think about. And so they only do TV shows for their mates.
100% right. But them doing diversity, they're actually programming for that tiny little Guardian reader granola eating.
Look at us. We've been so charitable. Look at our little pygmy friends.
And that's how they think. Looking back across the Star Trek for a moment, what I notice about that on the surface that we were just speaking about is that we've now got a franchise which has 3 TV shows, technically, allegedly, still in production: Discovery, Picard, and Lower Decks. And with obviously more on the way. And we have 2 of them have a black female lead, and the third one could argue, even though Patrick Stewart it's his name above the door, he is the lead. He's very much answerable to several people in that show, but particularly the Raffi character, who is is a black woman. So she's. I sometimes feel that Picard was sort of not subservient to her.
Yeah,
but that their relationship was so important to it. It was the closest thing they could get to having another black female lead. I like that actress. I think she's great. And
what relationship? There was no relationship between Picard and Raffi at all.
They were trying. That's down to bad writing, though, isn't it? The dynamic was, their intention was that those two characters would
like there was no relationship between Picard and Data, which they created for some reason.
Yeah, because
it's stupid. It's
shallow,
badly written.
Yeah, it's shallow. They only did it. That's exactly the word, and that's what Star Trek has never been. Star Trek has never been shallow, and it's so shallow. This tokenism that they think is diversity, it's shallow. It's just
your skin color or your gender or whatever is your character. That's it.
When they did it in the past with Voyager and Deep Space Nine, they did it right. They didn't think about color when they cast Cisco. And when they cast Janeway, they didn't think about her sex. They just cast her. She was a good actress and it made sense. But now they literally using it as a weapon. They're literally using it to slap down the so-called white man or men or whatever the agenda is.
You won't get a feminine woman in charge.
Yes, I'm saying. Yeah.
Because you have to be on board with the feminist agenda. Like, I'm a gay man, right? But there's no way in fucking hell that I would ever be cast in one of these things because I'm not on board with the program. Because I'd be too outspoken, I would, be too controversial, because I just don't agree with this.
You're also too white and too male.
There's that as well, or I'd be killed off within, like, I say, hi, I'm married to a guy, and bang, you're dead. You would fridged immediately.
You would never think. When we're talking about these things and we're looking back at Star Trek history and talking about where Star Trek is now and the kind of things that they're dropping out, this week we've had fresh announcements, haven't we, about 2 new cast members of Star Trek Discovery. And I think both of them are binary actors.
But they've had that before.
The way I don't know all the terminology,
Star Trek history.
I don't take it in, so please excuse me if I get the terms wrong. But generally, people are.
But they're not acting. They're not acting non-binary. They're not acting trans. The actors themselves are. That's not acting.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's partly it. But of course, when we look back at Star Trek history like this, we see not only so when we talk about black leads, 27 years ago, Avery Brooks was debuted as Benjamin Sisko, the lead of that show in every sense, a commanding presence, a fantastic actor who stayed there for 7 years and evolved with the part. It was incredible. Something else that was great about him that
you never saw on TV? He was a great father. I love that about Sisko. Yes. He was a great father. He spent time with us. It's wonderful.
Yeah. When they explored them and they pushed that out, we got fantastic characters that came in like Cassidy Yates and all those people. A few years later, we've got Catherine Janeway, played by Kate Mulgrew. A bit of a divisive figure. I know some people found her quite annoying. I always thought she was fantastic. And the fact that it was a female captain, yes, that did get in the press. I'm not going to lie to you and pretend that didn't happen. It did. But nobody was trying to shout any of these things down. Yeah. And I'm not a massive fan of Voyager, but when you go back and watch it, she, again, it is consistently good in that part, even when they don't write it well. She's consistently strong.
The difference is this. The world of the 1990s and the world of the 2020s, the world of the 1990s wasn't full of racists. It wasn't full of racists.
You'd think none of this would have ever happened. But we're just talking about these binary characters, as Problem Being was just saying. We've had, they're saying for the first time ever, but we've had binary, non-binary people. We had Jadzia Dax was one of the principal characters.
And the principle of
the Trill race was
mate.
People who were effectively always moving between genders.
Look at Discovery, right? You had that guy in the wheelchair who was always in the background, running along the corridor in his wheelchair.
Come on, really?
Where's the lines? Where's his story? No, it's just parked there and moving about in the background somewhere. So there's a bit of tokenism there. Not a line, nothing. And it's just so insulting, really. And surely in the
24th century,
whatever, you're going to be cured of that kind of thing.
I've had this conversation several times. Problem being, I view that as insulting, but obviously I'm not one of these minorities, am I? So who am I to say?
No, you have every right to say.
You can say you're a human being.
But I feel
right.
My brother's in a wheelchair. I don't think he'd be that impressed.
Because
really.
What I'm saying is, though, I've got no more right to be insulted on their behalf than the people who label themselves progressive have really got the right to sort of be seen to be actively pushing and doing things on minorities' behalves either. So it's not that I don't think I'm allowed an opinion, but I think, well, what's the other side to this? And I've never heard one. I've asked several people about this, and nobody's ever come back with anything to sort of contradict how I am reacting to it. I feel exactly the same way as you do, problem being. To me, yes, they're reducing people, actual human beings, to so much as window dressing.
You got to ask yourself the question, right? You got to ask yourself the question, right? When it comes to Discovery, how comes there isn't a black man in there helping Mocky Spock or Mikey Spock? You got to ask yourself the question: why isn't there a black man in that show?
I thought
Can somebody answer me that question, please?
There is a black gay doctor, isn't there?
Yeah, but he is mixed race. He is not black. We're talking about.
I don't know what race he is.
What is it? What's her name? What's that guy who plays Luther?
Russell Cruz.
Barack Obama was mixed race as well, but they always say he was the first black president.
But he's mixed race. He isn't black. Do you know what I mean? So there is a difference there. So this is what I'm talking about. They are being racist, even though they claim they're not. Right? By not including something like that.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
Well, the people who support this, the people who propagate this, it's not they don't answer you; they don't see it. It's like they have this like cloaking device. Well, you saw the was on my on my stream last week, right?
Yes, last week the rabbi had a guest on his channel. Who would you would describe? She described herself as an activist, didn't she, Rabbi?
I
can't remember.
She sounded anything but active.
But I like her worldview was insane. She believes what happens on Twitter is the real world. Right,
the rabbi, you were very generous when you opened your channel to her as a platform for you to have a conversation, to sort of to debate, and hopefully, I know how you work. Your ideal is that you find a common ground, isn't it? And you spoke to her for a good hour and a half, didn't you? How did it generally go?
An hour. I would have gone longer. I would have gone 3 hours with her because we were just starting to get into like the areas where she was like just.
The bits
that I came out with trope after trope after trope. It's like a script. They always say the same talking points. They say the same thing in exactly the same way. Yeah. There's no original thought.
You don't see all handed to them. Privilege speaking. Yeah, no.
If you're
privilege, it's your insanity speaking.
And if you're interested in seeing this video,
around with nooses waiting to lynch someone. That's not happening.
Yes, she seems very, very entrenched in a lot of ideas, which are generally, I believe, circulated, as you said, by Twitter. And it's a question of, do you believe in that sort of snow globe that is Twitter? Do you believe that that's real, that fantasy world inside? And I know it isn't. But if you're interested in seeing this video on the Rabbi's channel, I'll make sure there's a link in the description. It is absolutely fascinating.
If we're all ists and phobes, then how comes that we all universally love The Expanse? And which is incredibly diverse. We love original Star Trek. We love the Orville, another incredibly diverse show.
Okay, there's only two black members of the cast there present.
Do you know what this picture has a secret? This picture has a secret because if you flip them all around, you can see Picard's got his hand on Data's ass. So that just goes to prove that they had a relationship, right?
But can anybody remember this? Obviously, this show first premiered 33 years ago with LeVar Burton, who this was not his first role, but as a big member of the cast. And can anybody remember anything being said there about a black actor?
No,
nothing.
The only thing they said was that he was from Roots, the guy from Roots. That's what they kept saying, but nothing to do with his color at all. Nothing.
Right. Like with Voyager, they very deliberately made a female captain. That was like part of the DNA of the show. And honestly,
as it was conceived, wasn't it? In fact,
Sorry?
it was only when it was conceived as that they were always going to have a female captain, wasn't it? And it was only when they couldn't, they auditioned so many people. Nicola Bryant,
Lindsay Wagner as well.
Lindsay Wagner, and they couldn't quite find somebody.
Nicola Bryant for that role.
They auditioned Nicola for.
I would have loved. I want to go to that universe.
She would have had to have done. Would you have wanted to heard the American accent again? I think she would have definitely, by her own admission, would probably have got it nailed down a lot better by then. Yeah, Nicola auditioned, so did Lindsay Wagner, yes, and several other people. And they couldn't find anybody that they could quite hit on. So they did look at going back to a male Nigel Havers audition for it, and Peter Capaldi and various other British actors before they went back to the model of it.
But they did pick someone, didn't they? They picked
French. Genevieve Bujold,
yeah.
It wasn't very
didn't
good.
work out.
They filmed part of the pilot.
Yeah, I've seen the clip. Yeah.
She's very, very flat.
But she's a good actress, though. She's a really good
I
actress.
don't think her heart was in it, though.
No, I don't think it was either.
Didn't really want to be there.
Well, I think that's the point, and that's exactly what we got with Doctor Who now as well. Like they say, there should be a female captain, there should be a female doctor. Chicks tend to not like this stuff. I'm sorry. And if you don't like it, then you don't like it.
I will say it one more time for the cheap seats, right? I was really hoping a female doctor would work. Yeah, and it didn't.
Me too. And one of the reasons it doesn't work is the person playing it doesn't like Doctor Who. The reason I think the one of the flaws with Voyager, love it though I do in places. What's her name? Catherine Janeway. What's her name again?
Catherine Janeway.
Doesn't like science fiction. She thinks it's silly. If you think it's silly, you got to be a pretty good actor to act through that, and they're not.
I thought she was really good. I liked her.
If we didn't want Jodie Whittaker to succeed, I don't think half of us would have watched as many episodes as we did. I mean, I watched 5 episodes without
getting too deep into Doctor Who, because this is a Star Trek chat. Yes, I didn't want a female doctor. I still don't want a female doctor.
It's a male role.
I didn't think it would work, and I was right, wasn't I? So even though all these things, everybody out there who called me names, and yes, I was right, wasn't I? Yes. So even though I've just said that, I love Doctor Who. I wanted it to succeed. And
so did I.
It's Star Trek, because it was out of my hands. I didn't want it to fail, but I'm afraid it has failed. And Star Trek is teetering on the edge as well. I think Lower Decks is the most successful thing they've done, because it is at least living up to the series they originally pitched and the gap that they're looking to fill. Is it appealing to any of us? Doesn't look like it, Alex. Sorry. I did quite like this one, but generally we don't like this show.
How is this a success? How is this a success? It's not a success. No one's buying it. Nobody's watching it. A few people are watching it, but unfortunately...
I'm sorry, I should have clarified. A creative success. As I said, the show, they wanted to create a comedy, slightly adult, modern Star Trek animated half-an-hour show, and that's
animated, adult, but not funny.
They want to make it funny. They should have done the Archer route.
Whereas with Discovery, what they set out to do, it was they found it, even the most basic model of the kind of show they wanted to make, they found it elusive. They couldn't get there. They couldn't reach it. So much so that in 2 years, in the second year, they had to introduce a whole load of new characters and basically lean on Captain Pike. And in the third year, they're going to have to move all of them, every bugger on the ship, however many 100 years in the future, to get rid of the baggage that they've saddled themselves with, and give themselves the closest thing they can get to a clean sheet to give it another go. This is effectively a reboot, and I don't mind that in principle. If you try something and you fail, of course, to try again, you could argue that takes a certain amount of courage, but they're still pretending like it's this huge success, and this is a natural progression when it clearly isn't. This is a show that is
fails, and they
struggling
commission season after season.
Exactly.
Like, I mean, didn't they commission Discovery for before it even came out? I think, didn't they say that they were going to do another 2 seasons or something?
Yeah, they did. Yeah,
crazy.
But you know what gets me about the first season of Discovery, I really liked the first half of the show. I thought it was enjoyable, and I was
with you. Yeah,
but what they did wrong was she actually committed a horrendous crime against the Federation. She should still be, like a fugitive. But suddenly,
off to prison at the end of season 1.
Exactly. And so, but all of a sudden, she was forgiven, and now she's the captain or whatever. None of that makes any sense, and that's when the agenda started kicking in.
I saw her through it right from the word go, and it just continued to
no,
make
it wasn't.
Cringe
as far as I was concerned, it wasn't too female agenda driven when it first started.
It was.
I didn't think so. It was
badly
acted.
I didn't think it was. I didn't think it was either. But we did have the current trope where the 5'2", 8 stone dripping wet female beats the crap out of 2 enormous Klingons. In fact, several enormous Klingons. Within about 5 minutes. So that's,
she knows kung fu.
That doesn't happen. That never happened in TNG or in DS9 or any of those shows. It was always. Let's say realistic. I don't know if we can use words like realistic.
No, it wasn't. Not in the '60s version.
But it was. It didn't fracture the idea that these people were real. You could invest in them because they felt real. They felt representative, not of the kind of things we're talking about now, but of real people who, some of them were physically stronger than others.
You're talking about,
and actual interpersonal relationships obviously helped. And they had different goals as well, even though they were all sort of pulling in the one direction. We knew everything about. Over time, we got to learn everything about their ambitions, where they'd come from, where they wanted to go, and the people in their lives. And we're 3 years into Discovery, and they're doing everything they can really sort of peel people away from any sort of semblance of a life before it. It's the strangest show I think I've ever followed in science fiction.
You know what, Dan? Apart from the agenda and all that crap that's happening through Star Trek today, if you look at the old shows, all of them had one thing in common. They were all character driven. The 60s series was character driven. The new ones from the Next Generation was character driven, and all the spin-offs after that were character driven. Yes, some of them had crappy shows in it, and you'd argue about different points and stuff like that. But that is what they had in common. And this new Trek doesn't have any of that at all. I don't care about any of the characters in any of these shows.
It's an ensemble. It's supposed to be an ensemble cast, right? But all the characters in Discovery are
unlikable.
Are not an ensemble. They are a peripheral. The women are always amazeballs. The men are fallible and weak. And also, it's the first time, I think, really, isn't it, that you've had the central character not being a captain.
Yeah.
Well, that was an interesting idea. I think that was Brian Fuller's idea. I think everything about Discovery. Was Brian good about Discovery? Those first 10 episodes was Brian Fuller's idea, apart from the uniforms, which I think is was the political thing that got Kurtzman in control. That's what forced Brian Fuller out, because I'm sure Fuller wanted the Enterprise uniforms from season 2 because it looked like his style, right? And everything good about Discovery, those first 10 episodes, and afterwards they just kind of fell apart. But it wasn't obnoxiously hateful. It didn't become obnoxiously hateful to the first episode of season 2 when they introduced Lieutenant Mansplainer.
Yeah,
to be blown up.
Instant red shirt,
They led so deep into the mirror universe that they sort of took our eyes off the ball a little bit. But talking about the lead character, 27 years ago, we forget that Ben Sisko was originally a commander when we first meet him, and he reports to he's answerable to Picard and everybody else.
Well, what do we know about Mocky Spock? Nothing. What do we know about Benjamin Sisko? He was into baseball. He had a son. Do you know what I mean? We know all this stuff about him, but we know nothing. Even
we
from
know
after
that she
season
made Spock
2.
the man he is.
Yeah, well, even after season 2 of Deep Space Nine, we knew who Sisko was, and that is the difference between Star Trek of yesterday and Star Trek of today.
Well, let's remind ourselves about how good Star Trek of yesterday used to be for a few minutes, just to wrap up. Because yes, I've been watching The Next Generation again this week, and when we're talking that now about characters, how you were just talking about interpersonal relationships and characters, and what we know about Mikey Spock, about Michael Burnham after 2 seasons. Compared to what we know and what we feel for characters who appear in just one 40-minute episode of something like TNG, which I've been watching this week. This is episode 4 of TNG season 3. I've watched this week. Who watches The Watchers, which guest starred Ray Wise there. And in this episode, if you haven't seen it for a while, the Enterprise must undo the damage that's brought about when a primitive civilization accidentally discovers a Federation observation team on their world. And they decide, when they stumble across this sort of installation, that the Federation and Starfleet personnel, therefore, because of their scientific advancements, they must be gods. And that's where that takes that plot line. We've got an A and a B plot line that's running through all of this. It's a superb episode.
Yeah, it's a good episode.
We've got Ray Wise's character there, he's the guy who stumbles upon the observation sort of area. He gets taken aboard the Enterprise after getting injured. He falls off the rocks. Beverly Crusher sort of makes sure he doesn't die by transporting him to the Enterprise, but in his sort of delirium, he wakes up and half sees Captain Picard, sees people being reverential to him, and then goes back and tells, his memory wipe doesn't work. He goes back and he tells his people about this godlike entity called the Picard with his mighty head and all the rest of it. And it's all really, really funny. But the way they build those characters, that character and his daughter,
you cared about them all. You're absolutely right.
Really did.
The solution, by the way, in that episode, just is a tower of strength. That shows you, and that was just like a throwaway episode. Like, that showed like this incredible. He was ready to die to prove that he wasn't to save the Prime Directive. That's impressive. That's like
character development. Yeah,
so well written. And there's another character in it as well, played by Catherine Lee Scott here from Dark Shadows. If anybody used to watch that in the 70s, and she plays another one of these people on the planet who simply, you can see the expression there on her face. This character is so well written, and she gets brought aboard by Picard, and he sort of persuades her that he's not a god. He gets her to hold his hand and feel his pulse. And all those little things. And it's so underwritten. I know that we're talking about Lower Decks. It's a quicker, it's aimed at a slightly different audience than the Momentum. But I do think good characterization is good characterization. And it doesn't matter who your target audience is. It doesn't matter whether you're in animation or in live action, or whether you're acting it out as glove puppets at the bottom of the bed to sort of before your kids go to sleep as a bedtime story. If you're telling a story, good characterization always matters, always sells that story. I just thought I'd forgotten how good she was, and this is
the proof of that is Star Trek Next Generation became a massive hit that spawned 3 other series, right? And it didn't get that by appealing to Star Trek fans. It appealed to the mainstream audience. Why? Because it was just good storytelling. It was good storytelling week after week with characters you cared about.
And we have had some feedback. We've had some feedback as well, Rabbi, for people out there watching, specifically Vanessa, who's asked for more TNG and more of the old Star Trek. I did say to people in the chat and in the comments section that, obviously with new Star Trek airing at the moment, we are sort of duty-bound to talk about it whilst it's fresh out of the oven. But if we've got to suffer, then quite frankly, so have you.
Well, Next Generation brought in new Star Trek fans.
Massive.
Discovery, I don't see it happening. In those
days, the worst thing that can happen is that they say, look, you can't replace the old Star Trek with the new Star Trek. That was the worst that happened in those days. When this new show came on, everybody got on board with it because it was so good. But today, it's a completely different kettle of fish.
kick in.
Yeah, it took a while, but I think the reason why people always wanted to like it, and that's why people stuck with it, because I think they always knew what it was about. They always knew what it was trying to say, and I think we all knew that it had the very, very best of intentions.
Yeah.
And it had a business model. If somebody asked me, so what's the new Star Trek show about? If just Star Trek Discovery I'm talking about now. If somebody asked me to describe that show, what it's about, what its statement is, what it's saying, I wouldn't have the faintest idea.
Yeah, same here.
Oh, I know what it's saying.
What defines
exactly
that show?
No,
but you know what I'm saying. What defines that show? What it's saying about the 23rd century, 22nd, 23rd century? I would. It's almost irrelevant because they've not made it's the TV show. It's kind of I hate to say this, but it is sort of Star Trek in name alone, and this is why people get so bloody uptight about it. And you could see that a lot of us, a lot of our fellow fans view that as an entitlement, but that's not where it's coming from. It's sheer
frustration. You are entitled. You've invested time, money, emotional attachment.
You're entitled to be entertained.
I mean, it's not rocket science. I mean, if you've invested so much time and money, I mean, literally, fans spend millions of dollars or pounds or yen or whatever. I mean, not each, but over a lifetime, you can spend thousands and thousands and thousands. Right. And I'm sorry, you are entitled. If it wasn't for the fans, you wouldn't have these programs.
Okay, take any show that has like a defined what show would you say is like a more sort of left wing looking show that has like sorry. No, I mean then okay, let's say you take the Guardian and you turn it into a right wing tabloid, but you still put the Guardian on the top, and you go, look, what's your problem? It's the same thing. It's
like Sky News.
It doesn't matter if you never bought one piece of merchandise in your life. If you fundamentally change the essence of something, you fundamentally changed it. It's just, and it's not a terrible thing. And then people go, well, I love it. That's good you love it, but I like Star Trek, and this isn't it. Lower Decks isn't Star Trek. There is horrible.
Especially if you're sacrificing over half your audience.
It is a Star Trek spoof. It's not.
Well, really everyone's entitled to their opinions, right? And I don't have any problem with people who like Lower Decks or Discovery. That's good for them. But we can only talk about how we feel about it, and we are allowed to do that. Yeah. And this is what we're doing. If you don't like it, then don't tune in.
So, Ian, we're halfway through season 1 of Lower Decks. 5
I know what you're going to ask me. Go on.
Is this something you now just kind of dread watching every week?
Yes, totally.
It is.
Totally.
And you're in it for the remainder of the episodes. You're going to watch
of course, because you're my friend and I have to honor what I promised. But with this episode, I no lie. When it started halfway through, I was disgusted and I turned it off. And I thought to myself, God, I have to watch this. And I think 2 days later, I watched the rest of it and still felt disgusted. Literally felt disgusted because it is quite hateful. When you look at it, it may be wrapped up in a lovely bow and made to look like Star Trek, but underneath and inside that present is really hateful messages. And that's what I hate about this.
So how are your shields holding this week? What percentage of your shields up or down?
Now.
One down to one. We got down to one. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Rabbi, how are you with it at the moment? Where are your shields holding? And are you dreading the next 5 weeks?
Yeah, it's not fun. It's not fun 25 minutes. I'm dreading Discover as well. Where am I? I am at the okay, you know who I am right now? Deep Space Nine, first episode. I'm that Vulcan standing by that console. Who's like looking at Rick
They're blown out. Problem being, you've been our guest for this one. We don't really know how you've been throughout it so far. But is this something you're going to continue to watch? I mean, are you going to watch this? Are you going to watch this episode?
This is the thing. It's not dread in my case, right? It's not even dread. It's just I'm not rushing to watch it. I know I kind of have to watch it because I promised Noel that I will watch it so we can do a review. Even he is just like, yeah, so we'll do it next week. You know, we are so apathetic about it. That's the thing. Apathy is the franchise killer.
It is.
Once you get apathy that sets in, it's like rot, and you can't ever come back from that. Really,
so we don't know. Listen, honestly, is that logical? No, we've never been in this situation before. We've never been in this. Look, I mean,
not in this particularly, but in life, if you get apathetic about something you once loved, like if it's a hobby or something like that, you don't come back to it. You really don't. You move on.
Again, Star Wars is further along the road, I think, than Star Trek and Doctor Who. In that, I don't know. Yes, I had an X-wing fighter game come out, which is normally something I would like. Whoa! I gotta see. I couldn't care less. It's not like I wasn't. I couldn't care less.
Is the right word. Yeah,
True.
It's absolutely the right
True.
word. So yes, problem being. So you imagine you've been in a dogfight then for the last an intergalactic dogfight for the last 4 or 5 weeks. You've taken a few hits, obviously, as the
my score over the episodes has crept
Where
up.
are your shields holding? Okay.
I think my last score for the last episode was actually 3. Which is like, wow. You know, I mean, it was like, I think 1 for the first.
Is that out of 10 or out of 5?
Out of 10.
Okay, so your shields are at 30%.
There you go. Yeah.
Fantastic. Yes, and mine are, even though I did enjoy this one a lot more than all the episodes before, this show is clearly stuck in a rut, and you guys have convinced me really sort of seen that I have actually been served the same thing again this week after all, and so my shields
I guess the episode
exactly
almost
where they were last time at 33%.
But you're very generous, mate. 32. I'm at 1 now. I'm at 1%.
You've got to give yourself somewhere to go. You've got somewhere to go.
There is a minus, isn't there? You can go minus.
I think that's once you hit minus,
Negative.
you're sort of floating in space, in the vacuum of space, lifeless. Once
But
that's
you know
going
what? Listen, if you ever find yourself floating in the vacuum of space, you're probably going to find a massive platform there. Which you get Iron Man time costume, because that happens all the time in the vacuum of space, doesn't it?
I do hope that you're having much more fun listening to us gripe about every episode of Star Trek Lower Decks for a full hour than we are watching 25 minutes worth. But please, yes, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, because I know a lot of people haven't for your own reasons, whatever. Chuck us a sub. Chuck us a sub. It just takes a minute of your time, and even hit that little bell for the notifications as well. Or you could turn it off and still subscribe. Then it's all down to you. Like the video too. That always makes a difference, and share it along to anybody you know who may enjoy it. Who may think we're all complete nutcases, entitled horrible fanboys and horrible.
We're not nutcases.
But we are bloody entitled.
We do enjoy talking about this stuff, and even though it's been a bit of a trial, Star Trek is Star Trek, and we'll be here long after this show has finished. So yes, leave us some comments and let us know what you think. If you think we've got it all right or we've got it all wrong, we still want to know. Whatever. We'll be back next time for episode 6 of Lower Decks. In it for the duration, even if it's just me talking on my own.
Subscribe to this fella. Oh, my finger.
Subscribe to
Subscribe to Mickle Geek's finger.
Yes,
my finger.
And the good news is,
there you go.
I'm pointing upwards.
Thank you, shipmates. And the good news is, it's Wednesday night. And it's Wednesday night. You got another new episode of Star Trek Lower Decks to look forward to tomorrow. In space, everybody can hear
Dan,
you scream.
You made a very good point there. We really should watch an episode of TNG and discuss that as well. Or something good.
Yes, this is my idea. Let's do a watch along of an episode of TNG. How does that grab you, Vanessa?
Okay, here's the premise. I'm not a great fan of TNG. I'm a TOS man myself. If you can win me over, I'm in.
Okay, I got episodes to win you over. Well, you go.
Well, we are going to. We've actually been speaking about this before. The idea is that we're going to go back and we're going to watch the TNG episode Lower Decks, and we're going to do a watch along onto that, which is, of course, the episode that birthed the title of the animated show we're watching now. We're going to go back and we're going to see a good example, maybe, of how you make great Star Trek. That's a seminal episode of The Next Generation, of course.
Okay,
and
yeah,
at some point, we're gonna do that in the next few weeks, no doubt. That should keep people a little happier. More Star Trek and the good stuff. And yet, in time, I do intend on covering DS9, TOS, Voyager, everything we shall see. I'm just enjoying talking about Star Trek because I do love it. Did love it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening to us moan, and thanks for your company, gentlemen. It's been fantastic. So yeah, join us again next time for more Warp Drive. Like, subscribe, share. Go on, you know you want to. That's it from us. That's it from us for another week.
Subscribe.
Cheers.
Be well.
Bye bye.